There are some devotees.
Chapter 4, verse 39, on page 131.
Page?
131. A faithful man who is absorbed in transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses quickly, quickly attains a supreme spiritual peace. Purport. Such knowledge in Krishna consciousness can be achieved by a faithful person who believes firmly in Krishna. One is called a faithful man who thinks that simply by acting in Krishna consciousness, one can attain the highest perfection.
Yes. Faith, there are different kinds of faith. But in Krishna consciousness, the preliminary condition of faith is to believe that simply by serving Krishna, everything will be complete. Krishna, there is a verse in it is not working. In Chaitanya Chaitamrita, there is a verse, Saddha Shabde Vishwas Sudhira Nishchoy Krishne Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. There are different kinds of activities. Karma, Jnana, Yoga, especially everything, all activities are grouped under three headings. One is karma, fruitive activities. People are working to get some desired result for sense gratification. That is generally. Everyone is working to get some money, and money means to satisfy my senses, my demands of the senses. This is called karma. Then out of many millions of such karmis or workers, one is jnani, or a man in knowledge. When a man comes into the platform of knowledge, when he becomes frustrated by working hard and testing all results of karma, when one is not satisfied, then he comes to the platform of knowledge. Knowledge means inquiry, what I am, why I am frustrated, why I am confused, what is my position. That is the platform of knowledge. So, out of many thousands of such persons who have attained knowledge, actually, who have understood what is the position of these living entities, Brahma Bhuta, they are called liberated. And out of many thousands of such liberated persons, one can understand what is Krishna. This is the position. So, to understand this fact that simply by engaging oneself into the activities of Krishna consciousness, everything is completely done. This is called faith. Faith, strong faith, unflinching faith. That is the last instruction of Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekang saranam. You give up all other engagement, simply surrender unto me. And that is knowledge. So one who has attained this knowledge, now this is the beginning, this is the stepping stone in Krishna consciousness. That simply one who is firmly convinced that simply by executing the duties in Krishna consciousness, my all other functions will be nicely done. So one has to understand, it is not to be accepted blindly, it is not forced upon anybody. Therefore the Bhagavad Gita is there. Try it to understand scrutinizingly with all your arguments, and you will find it is sublime. It is sublime. So a faithful man who is absorbed in transcendental knowledge, this is transcendental knowledge, that simply by discharging my duties in Krishna consciousness, all other duties will be performed. Means I will be perfect in fruitive activities, I will be perfect in knowledge, I will be perfect in mystic advancement, and I will be perfect to understand the absolute truth. This is called firm, unflinching faith. Faith, I do not mean faith by blind faith. This Bhagavad Gita is not blind faith. Everything is being explained step by step, scientifically, authoritative. So try to understand. And if you fortunately become faithful, then your life is successful. Gone.
This faith is attained by the discharge of devotional service, and by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, which cleanses one's heart of all material dirt. Over and above this, one should control the senses. A person who is faithful and controls the senses can easily attain perfection in the knowledge of Krishna consciousness without delay.
Controlling of senses means that is also knowledge. Because this materialistic life means sense gratification. So we have satisfied our senses not only in this human form of life, but in other forms of life. So, when one comes to the understanding that these sense gratification activities are useless, then he can understand. Yeah. When one understands that I have tried to satisfy myself in different kinds of sense gratification, just like people are trying the same thing which they have got at home, just like a naked woman. Or they are still going to the theatre to see naked dance. You see? What is that? They have no idea. The same thing, punachar vitachar vanana, chewing the chewed, trying to find out in which naked dance there is pleasure. That's all. So, when one comes to the knowledge that I have seen so many different types of naked dance and naked woman, what I have got? What I have gained? What satisfaction is there? Why I am not satisfied? And that is knowledge. That is knowledge. Just like Billamangal Thakur. You have heard the story of Billamangal Thakur. There are many stories. So, he was very much fond of his girlfriend, prostitute. So when one night when he approached there within torrents of rain and with great difficulties, the woman was sympathetic. She said, Bilamangal, you are so much attracted with this flesh and bone. If you had been so much attracted to Krishna, how you would have been? Immediately he turned. Yes. So immediately went back and went to Vrndavana. So these are the points of knowledge. You see, when one is struck with that knowledge, what I have gained? I have tried life after life, hours after hours, days after days, this sense gratification. What I have got? And this is knowledge. Then searching begins. Gone.
But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures go to ruin and perish. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor the next.
Yes. One who is doubtful, he has neither happiness in this world and what to speak of the next.
Therefore, one who has renounced the fruits of his actions, whose doubts are destroyed by transcendental knowledge, and who is situated firmly in the self, is not bound by works, O conqueror of riches. One who follows the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita as it is imparted by the Lord, the personality of Godhead himself, becomes free from all doubts by grace of transcendental knowledge.
Because everything is threadbare, explained. You can have answer of all questions from this Bhagavad Gita, chapter by chapter. Everything is completely answered. Yes.
He, as a part and parcel of the Lord, in full Krishna consciousness, is already fully conversant with self-knowledge. As such, he is undoubtedly above the reactions to whatever activities he may carry out. Verse 42. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight.
The doubt was there in the mind of Arjuna in the battlefield, and there was necessity for preaching Bhagavad Gita. Gone.
The yoga system instructed in this chapter is called Sanatana Yoga, or eternal activities performed by the living entity. This yoga has two divisions of action called sacrifices. One is called sacrifice of one's material possessions, and the other is called knowledge of self, which is pure spiritual activity. If sacrifice of one's material possessions is not dovetailed for spiritual realization, then such sacrifice becomes material. But one who performs such sacrifices with a spiritual objective or in devotional service makes a perfect sacrifice. When we come to spiritual activities, we find that these are also divided into two, namely, understanding of one's own self or one's constitutional position, and the truth regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who follows the path of the Bhagavad Gita as it is, can very easily understand these two important divisions of spiritual knowledge. For him there is no difficulty in obtaining perfect knowledge of the self as part and parcel of the Lord.
Because The subject matter of Bhagavad Gita is to know 5 things. To know what are these living entities, what is God, what is nature, and what is time, and what is work. These 5 subject matters are there. God, the living entities, the nature, the time, and the work. These things are. Everyone is engaged in some sort of work. And there is time control. Your life, my life, everyone's life is controlled by time. We have to live for so many years, no more than. They said to study time, to study our work. Then what is God? What I am? And what is this material nature? These 5 things are very nicely explained. One has to study. Then one becomes perfect in knowledge. And he can act accordingly.
And such understanding is beneficial for such a person who easily understands the transcendental activities of the Lord. In the beginning of this chapter, the transcendental activities of the Lord were discussed by the Supreme Lord himself. One who does not understand the instructions of the Gita is faithless and is considered to be misusing the fragmental independence awarded to him by the Lord. In spite of such instructions, one who does not understand the real nature of the Lord as the eternal, blissful, all-knowing personality of Godhead is certainly fool number 1. This ignorance of the so-called student of the Bhagavad Gita can be removed by gradual acceptance of the principles of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is awakened by different types of sacrifice to the demigods. Sacrifice to Brahma, sacrifice in celibacy, sacrifice in household life, sacrifice in controlling the senses, sacrifice in practicing mystic yoga, sacrifice in penance, sacrifice of material possessions, sacrifice in studying the Vedas, and sacrifice in observing the scientific social institution called varnashrama dharma, or the divisions of the human society. All of these are known as sacrifice, but all of them are based on regulated action. And within all these sacrifices, the important factor is self-realization. One who seeks that objective is the real student of the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, self-realization, what I am. If one aims to that objective, then his study of Bhagavad Gita is nice. Yes.
But one who doubts the authority of Krishna falls back. One is therefore advised to study the Bhagavad Gita or any other scripture with a bona fide spiritual master, with service and surrender. A bona fide spiritual master is in the disciplic succession from time eternal, and there is not the slightest deviation from the instruction of the personality of Godhead, as it was imparted millions of years ago to the Sun God, from whom the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita has come down to the earthly kingdom.
It is not very difficult. Just like in this Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead says that He is the Supreme, and He is advising manmana bhava mad bhakta, just try to think of me only, always. Manmana bhava mad bhakta, and become my devotee. Mad jaji, just worship me. Mang namaskuru, just bow down unto me. So simply these 4 processes, if one can do, he says, Mame Vaishyasya Sangsaya, surely, without any doubt, you shall come to me. So is there any difficulty? These boys, these girls, what they are doing? Manmana bhava. They are chanting Krishna, that means thinking of Krishna. They are devotees of Krishna, they are bound down before the deity of Krishna, they are eating Krishna prasadam. So the process is very easy. But we do not want to follow the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, but simply falsely I am proud that I am reading Bhagavad Gita. There are so many Bhagavad Gita readers, even in your country. So many, I know. But the real instruction they will not follow. They will interpret in some way, this way, that way. Or some rascal, commentator, will also induce the reader, oh, here Krishna says that you become devotee of Krishna, it is not up to this Krishna, there is another Krishna. You see? Krishna directly says that manmana bhavamad bhakta, and the commentator says not to Krishna. So how people can understand? You see, a misleading, misinterpretation. Otherwise, if you simply study Bhagavad Gita, you understand these 5 principles. What is God, what I am, what is material nature, and what is time, and what is work. Then you are in full knowledge. These 5 things are very nicely explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Try to understand. My dilemma, what I am. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Mamaivangsha jiva bhuta. They are all my parts and parcels. That is nice, very nice. It is very easy to understand. Part and parcel, that means I am part, he is whole. Part is never equal to the whole, but part is equal in quantity, quality. Just like a part, a little part of the ocean water. This is also salty, and the whole ocean water is also salty. So qualitatively, the part and little part and particle of the ocean water is the same quality. It is not different. Chemically, if you analyze that one drop of sea water, the chemical composition of that water and the vast water is the same. The only difference is that the ocean is very big and the small particle of water is very small. That is the difference. So if I am part and parcel of God, therefore the qualities which I have got, the God has got the same quality. Now you study yourself. Then you can understand what is God. The same qualities are there, but it is unlimited. Ours are limited. It is not difficult to understand God. Why they are bewildered to understand God? God is also, and it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita and all Vedic literature, God is just like us, a person, an individual person, but very powerful. That is the difference. My power, there are different kinds of power. Your power is different from another man. Another man's is different from another man, and go on. When you find the supreme man or supreme personality, he is God. Very nice description in the Brahma Samhita. Ishara Parama Krishna. Every individual person is trying to control, to become controller. Just like somebody tries to become president of your state. What is the idea behind it? To become controller. They're spending millions of dollars to get that post. So I want to become a very big businessman like Rockefeller or Ford. What is the idea? To become controller. I want to rule over my family members. I want to be controller. If I have nobody to control, I get some dog to control. This is my, I mean to say, intuition. I want to control. So everyone is controller in different degrees. And the Brahma Samhita says that God is supreme controller. That's all. He is also controller. But there is nobody else who can control him. He controls everything. Ishara Parama Krishna. Ishara means controller. The Parama means the supreme. Very nice, very simple description of God. If God, somebody says, I am God. I am God in this sense that God is like me. Just like if you say I am American, your president is also American, so exactly you are like President American. There is no harm. But if you say I am as powerful as President Nixon, that is not applicable. Similarly, I am God means I am qualitatively one with God. It does not mean I am as powerful as God. That does not mean. He is the supreme controller. I have got the controlling capacity, or I do control in my limited circle, but he is the supreme controller. So in this way, if you understand, it is not very difficult to understand what is God, what is what is this material nature, what is time and what is what. And if you understand these 5 things, then you are in full knowledge. God.
One should, therefore, follow the path of the Bhagavad Gita as it is expressed in the Gita itself, and beware of self-interested people seeking personal aggrandizement who deviate others from the actual path. The Lord is definitely the supreme person, and his activities are transcendental. One who understands this is a liberated person from the very beginning of the study of the Gita.
Yes. Simply if you understand that I have got also the, what is called intuition to control, and God is the supreme controller. Simply if you understand this, then immediately you become liberated. Simply if you understand this. He is the supreme control. He is the supreme person. Simply this understanding, that is stated in the beginning of this transcendental knowledge, janma karmam divyam jo janati tat tat. God also working, he is also creating, I am also creating. I am creating a Sputnik, a toy planet, and God is creating innumerable, unlimited planets. That is the difference. I can also create something, but that is not as good creative power as God. But I have got some creative power. I have got the tendency for enjoyment. Similarly, God has got the tendency for enjoyment. So, there is nothing different from you, God. Only the difference is that He is unlimited, I am limited. I am very small, He is very great. He is infinite, I am infinitesimal. Vibhu Anu. The Sanskrit word is Vibhu. Vibhu means great. God is great. Asamartha. Nobody can be equal to God. Nobody can be greater than God. That means everyone is subordinate to God. Simple these understandings will make you liberated. Janma karma me divyam jujanati tattat. Tattadeham. This liberation means after quitting this body, you are no more going to accept any material body. You are immediately transferred to the spiritual world and you get your spiritual world. Tattadeham punarjananaiti mameti kaunta. These things are already explained. So try to understand what is God and what you are. What is this material nature? What is your relationship with material nature, with God, with others? what is this time factor, what is what. Then you are in full knowledge, then you become liberated. All right.
Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 4th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of transcendental knowledge.
So we shall stop here. Hare Krishna. Any question?
Within the Gita, it listed the different kinds of sacrifices. It said that sacrifices to demigods can bring us to Krishna consciousness.
Yes. Yes. Because sometimes people are inclined to make some sacrifices to appease the demigods. So these prescriptions are there, just like somebody is recommended that if you want to be cured of your disease, then you worship the sun god. If you want to get a very nice, beautiful wife, then you worship Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva. In this way, if you want to be very learned, then you worship the goddess of learning. So these prescriptions are there in the Vedic literature. So people, just like in the modern days, they want to have all these things by material activities. So they are recommended in a different way, but the aim is the same. But when one can understand, that is also injunction in the Vedas, the akama sarvakama mokshakama udaradhi. Either you are desiring some material prosperity, or you are desiring devotional service, or you are desiring liberation. There are three kinds of liberation, desires. One desire is that a person wants some material opulence. And then one desires, one becomes frustrated, he wants liberation. Or another, those who are transcendentally advanced, they want to be engaged in Krishna consciousness. There are three kinds of desires. So Bhagavad says, either you become akama. To desire to advance in Krishna consciousness is no material desire. There it is called akama. That is not material desire. And two other things, to desire for liberation and to desire for material opulence, that is material. So Bhagavad says, the akama sarvakama va mokshakama udaradhi. If you are actually advanced in knowledge, either you desire material prosperity, or you desire liberation from material bondage, or you desire to be engaged in Krishna consciousness, you simply try to be engaged in devotional service of the Supreme Lord. If you want any material prosperity, that can also be achieved by devotional service. That is also explained, I think you will get it in the 5th chapter, that Chaturvida bhajante mam sukritina arjuna. Now we have already discussed. There are 4 kinds of people who approach in Krishna consciousness. So what are they? Artha arthati jigyasa. Those who are distressed those who are in need of money, those who are inquisitive, and those who are searching after or advancing in knowledge, or wise men. So out of these four, the wise man is accepted very nicely by Krishna. So just like Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj wanted some material prosperity. So he worshipped Krishna. But at the end, when he saw Krishna, then he said, I do not want any more this material prosperity. Swamin kritarthosmi barangna jyache. My dear Lord, I am now fully satisfied. I don't want any material prosperity. So the thing is that one may be impelled by any desire, but if he approaches directly to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then his desires will be satisfied, at the same time ultimately he will come to the platform of Krishna consciousness. If he rightly performs the sacrifices, they are not needed, but if they are attached to such things, if they do it nicely, then ultimately they will come. Yes, what?
Was there a Vaishnava calendar which originated in Vedic culture which is different from our calendar that we use today?
Is there any calendar study just now?
No, I was...
Why do you ask about calendar now?
Oh,
We are not discussing about calendar. When you discuss about calendar, you put that question. It is not a very important question now. That means you are not attentively hearing, you are thinking of calendar. You should be very attentive what discussions are going on. Calendar is not very important discussion in this meeting. Yes. Our question, inviting question means we have discussed something. If there is any difficulty, to clear that. Not to bring some other question which can be put later on. Otherwise anyone can put any question. Oh, this is not an assembly of answering questions. This is assembly to understand what we are studying. Yes. Wow.
Prabhupada, in verse number 42, purport of verse number 42, it divides spiritual activities into two, namely understanding of one's own self or one's constitutional position, and the truth regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is this first division Paramatma realization, and the second division realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Yes, that I have already explained. That our relationship with God is that I am infinitesimal and He is infinite. This is knowledge. I am very small and He is very great. God is great. That is definition of every theistic man. So I cannot be equal with God. This is transcendental knowledge. But unfortunately, we are declaring, I am God. This is insanity. How you can be God? Do you know what is God? Because you do not know what is God, therefore you are claiming that I am God. What you have done? What is your testimonial that you are God? Simply by declaring I am God, you become God. This is no knowledge. Less intelligent. No knowledge about God. This is knowledge. That God is great, God is infinite, I am finite, I am infinitesimal. That is knowledge. Yes?
Then realization of the impersonal feature of the Absolute wouldn't be classified as a spiritual activity?
Well, impersonal is the spiritual activities, practically. They have got some ritualistic performances to come to the platform of negating this material condition. Just like to find out, just like you take milk, so you have to find out where the butter is there. So if you know the process, then you can find out the butter. But if you do not know the process, you can say, oh, this is simply milk, where is butter? You must know the process. Similarly, the impersonalists, they think that I am Brahma, but I am not this matter. That is fact. I am spirit, I am not this matter. But that understanding is not sufficient. What is my position as spirit? Then when we come to the Supreme Spirit, the All Spirit, that is perfection of knowledge. So, impersonal conception is simply a negation of these material varieties. But above that, there is spiritual variety. That is real knowledge. That is Krishna consciousness. Negation, just like there is no fever. In diseased condition, one is trying to get out of the feverish condition. So, by medicinal treatment, one gets out of fever. But that is not healthy condition. That is not final. There is negation of fever, that's admitted, that's all right. But that is convalescent stage. You may relapse again. When you actually come to the healthy state, that is your life. So negation of fever is not as good as your healthy life. So negation of this materialistic idea, impersonalism, is not complete knowledge. Because I am spirit soul. I am active even in this material disease condition. How much active I must be in my healthy condition. That is real knowledge. Healthy condition does not mean that I am dead. This is no treatment. If some physician comes and tells to the patient, oh, you are so suffering, all right, let me cut your throat, so you will not suffer. Everything will be stopped. Is that good treatment? You have to stop his fever and keep him into his healthy life. That is treatment. Simply stop simply negation, void. That is not true. You cannot remain void because you are active. If you are forcibly made into voidness, how long you can remain in voidness? As soon as this so-called voidness is finished, you come to this activity again. So you have to be situated in your real activities. That is required. That real activities is Krishna conscious activities. And that is not impersonal, that is personal.
When in the Bhagavad Gita it says that the Maha Mantra cleanses the heart and soul, does that mean that when you just like automatically say the words, just a sound, will that cleanse your heart? Or should you try and like remember Krishna on every word and every sound?
No, by simply chanting, your heart will be cleansed.
You try.
Yes. Go on chanting. Therefore we give regulative principle that one must chant at least 16 rounds.
Should we try to go fast in order to keep them done? In order to keep the rounds done?
The first thing is that you should chant without any offense. You see, in the beginning there may be so many offenses, but the chanting will be perfect when you are free from 10 kinds of offenses. You can understand those 10 kinds of offenses. I have explained several times from your God brothers. Yes. Yes.
I'm new here, before, so you'll forgive me if my questions are naive. But if all you require is the chanting to be pure, then why do you require musical instruments and an altar and flowers and things of this sort?
If all is required is chanting Hare Krishna, why do we have the pictures and the clothes and the instruments and the altar and Lord Jagannath?
Because you are personalist. We are not impersonal. This is spiritual varieties. You are talking of no variety. Is it not? You are asking me why there are so many varieties. This is your plain question.
Not only that,
That?
why are the heads shaved?
That is also another variety.
Yeah, all right.
So you want variety less. Is it not?
No, I'm asking why these are necessary. Why are they necessary?
They are not necessary for a person who is advanced. But in the preliminary stage, we have such necessities. This creates atmosphere. But at the same time, these varieties are not, material varieties. They are spiritual varieties. The place where we are trying to approach Vaikuntha, there the inhabitants are like this. They have got this tilak, they have got, of course we haven't got 4 hands, but they have got 4 hands. There are 2 hands also, and they are dressed like this. So, these things are not material varieties. As much as the chanting is not material vibration. Besides that, any path you follow, you have to follow the regulative principles as they are enacted by authorities. So in our disciplic succession, previous acharyas, they have advised that you should have your dress like this, you should have your head like this. So we have to follow that. Mahajana jena gatasya panthya. Our principle is to follow the footprints of authorities. So these things are not unauthorized. These are being followed from time immemorial. This dress, this tilak, this chanting, everything. Just like you see the picture of Lord Chaitanya, we are following the same principles. This was being enacted 500 years ago. The same principle we are following. We are not introducing anything new. We are simply following the footprints of our predecessors. That's all. Just like we are trying to understand Bhagavad Gita, just Arjuna understood. Arjuna was direct hearer from Krishna. So as he understood Bhagavad Gita, we are trying to understand in that way. Krishna said, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekang saranang braja. That you give up all other engagements, you just surrender unto me. What we are preaching, we are also saying that you surrender unto Krishna. Krishna said, you surrender unto me because he is the Supreme Person himself. And we are canvassing, you surrender to Krishna. So what is the difference? There is no difference. Mahajana jena gatasya pantha. The spiritual path is to follow the footprints of predecessors, great acharyas who has realized. Then you become perfect. Not imitate, but to follow. Imitation is different. So this is not imitation, but this is following the footprints. So one who wants to become devotee, he has to follow certain rules and regulations which are enacted by authorized persons in this line. We cannot deny it. Therefore there is necessity. Yes.
In Gita, Krishna says so many times, you must surrender unto me. Why do people say no to something else?
Because they want something new. This is very old. There is a song by a great dramatist in India. He is singing, Atta notun kichu karo. That means you do something, invent something new. You invent something new, and then you become very popular. That is the way of modern thoughts. You invent something new. Not modern, this is going on. Just like there is version in the Vedic literature, Naso munijjasya matangna bhinnam. If you want to be a muni or a sage, you must put forward some new theory. Otherwise he is not a philosopher. A philosopher is not counted a philosopher unless he defies all other philosophers and puts some new theory. And that is going on. Nasu munijjasya matangna bhinna. So whose philosophy you will accept? Every day you will find a new philosopher. So whom to follow? Therefore, out of disgust, everyone is trying to follow his own principle. Whatever he likes. And there are some missionary activities. They also advocate that you can do whatever you like and you get God. So people are trying like that. But our process is different. We are following the old principles. We do not say something new. The old saying, as Krishna said 5,000 years ago, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekang saranang braja. So nothing new. We are simply repeating that our Hare Krishna. It is also repetition. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. What is that English word, putting the old wine in a new bottle, or what is that? So, it is old wine, simply putting in new bottles, that's all. And what is new? There is nothing new in the world. The sun was rising on the eastern side. Still it is rising on the eastern side. The sun was setting on the western side. It's still setting. Your forefathers, grandfathers, they are also eating, you are also eating. They also died and we shall also die. What new thing is there? They died and you will not die? What new you can give? Nothing. You have to follow by nature's law the old principles. They died, I will have to die. They ate, I am eating. They beget children, I am also begetting. So what is the difference? What is the new? Everything is going on in the old principles. It is simply our imagination that we are doing something new. There is nothing new. Ahara nidra bhaya maithunancha samannam etat pasuvi narana. We are under such stringent laws of the nature. There is no scope for inventing something new. That is not possible. We have to follow the old principles by force, by nature's law. All right, chant Hare Krishna.